Hi folks, I'm the Bald Guy, and these are Bald Guy Basics. Today I have a video for you going back to the woods, and I wanted to demonstrate the use of two pickaroons. I've previously reviewed the Forester pickaroon, and if you don't have a pickaroon and you do wood cutting, it's a tool that you really need to have. But I wanted to show you today just how handy having two pickaroons is. It saves me so much strain on my back as well as on my knees. I'm able to pick up pretty good sized rounds of wood without bending very far at all. And I'm able to pick it up with pretty much a straight back and straight knees. Boy, the pollen is really getting me today. Sorry for sniffing. What you're looking at is me carrying or picking up and loading some pretty good sized rounds of maple wood. The maple is quite decent size. I guess it's in the neighborhood of 18 to 20 inches across. And I'm able to pick it up with no strain on my back. In fact, I was able to load the entire pickup in about half the time it would normally take me. Now, you can tell as I throw these rounds of wood in there, I'm just letting them kind of roll back into the truck where I can. I got down to the smaller end of the tree, and I was able to kind of throw that stuff on top. Usually when I pack the truck, I try to pack it in nice, neat rows, all the stuff oriented the same way, so I can get more wood on the truck. But when I'm dealing with bigger stuff, I try to avoid excess strain because I've had enough of that stuff on my back over the years. So I load the maple, and I also had to cut some pine here as well. And I was just able to load this stuff so much easier. So if you're going to use a pickaroon and you're going to be dealing with larger pieces of wood, I highly recommend that you go ahead and get a second pickaroon. What it does is multiply your leverage. Your ability to pick up wood, even when you're just using one pickaroon, is so much more easier. Your grip has much greater leverage on picking up the pieces of wood, and it just makes loading the truck far easier with far less strain. There have been many times, and we all have our health problems. One of my problems is I'm tachycardic, which means my heart rate is higher than the average person's. So sometimes I just have to stop and rest because my heart's working harder. It is what it is. My dad taught me many years ago, he had the same condition. He said, well, son, I can get a lot of work done, but I have to take my time and not overstress my heart. Because what happens is the doctor gives us medicine that keeps our heart from getting too fast. So when we exert ourselves too much, we run out of wind. So you've heard me in some of my videos, I'm sure, kind of huffing and puffing. Well, that's one of the reasons why. The other reason why is I'm carrying a little too much weight around my middle, but it is what it is. So you'll notice with the pickaroon how easy it is to you go back, and I used to have to work really hard to get into a comfortable place, to bend, get my knees down, and it took a lot of energy just to stand up. You'll also notice when I'm using the pickaroon just one at a time, how easy it is to grab a piece of wood, and then the pickaroon becomes a lever. You reach and get it near the head, and the back part of the handle kind of gives you a balance for holding it. I just cannot emphasize how much easier it is to load the truck. On a typical day when I'm cutting wood, I can cut a pickup load of wood, in the kind of wood you're seeing here, an hour. Depending on how much brush I have to clear away, maybe an hour and a half. But somewhere around an hour of actual saw time, I can cut an entire load of wood. That would, well, I know how many pieces of wood I get on the truck when it's split, but I have no idea how many rounds of wood that is. And that, of course, varies with the size of the round. But then I would often take another, at least as much time as I was cutting to load, because it depended, of course, factors like how far I was having to walk. But It even got worse with dealing with smaller wood, not because the wood was heavier, but I was having to bend over that many more times. So it got very fatiguing on my back. With the pickaroon, I just walk up, hook the piece of wood with the pickaroon itself, and turn around and go. I've not had to bend over appreciably. So it's a great tool to have. It will expand your ability to work. And also, you see some logs here in the foreground. The logs, and what I did, I cut these in 12-foot sections or so. I didn't measure it. But sections that were long enough that I could move one log and get a lot of stuff out of my way, but short enough that I could handle the weight. Now, I could not move these logs hardly at all by just reaching over and grabbing one end. And I didn't picture it here, but later I just hit the pickaroon on one end, grabbed the log, and pulled it right out of the way. It was actually very easy to move. So it's very handy. The other thing the pickaroon is really handy about is what I do is I load the truck, drive back to the house where I have my splitting set up with my hydraulic splitter and my wood pile. I try to split the wood as it comes off the truck so that I don't have to, I used to throw it off on the ground, and then you'd have to, when I was splitting by hand, you'd have to prop up all the pieces of wood or set them upright. So it's bending and bending and bending again and again. With the pickaroon, I just reach up in the truck and pull it off to the tailgate, and I'm able to go immediately to the wood splitter, and then I have my wood splitter backed up right to the pallets where I'm going to pack the wood, so it comes off the wood splitter directly onto the pallet, so it does not hit the ground again. So I hope this gives you a good idea of a way to multiply your ability to work with a minimum of sweat equity. I highly recommend getting yourself a pickaroon or two. If you're going to get one, go ahead and get two. I am the Bald Guy, and these are Bald Guy Basics.